Teachers on Reddit. What is the most stupid answer someone has ever given on an exam? I'm in a 1-to-1 school. Every student is issued an iPad, so I use a digital quiz that my students can type on. I can't remember what the question was, but I remember the student's answer. It was a pizza emoji. Not a teacher. One time I didn't study at all for a test. I left almost all the answers blank. The very last question was the only one I got marks for. The question was, what is a haiku? Please define and provide an example. My haiku was, I have failed this test, I should have studied harder, I hate myself man, my teacher wrote for sure, and I got full marks. I studied for the rest of the tests that year. Haikus are the most overhyped thing in literature to me. I remember when I first learned about them I was like, this is it, this is the fucking amazing shit. You said our next lesson would be. It didn't translate to English well as a form of poem. It makes so much more sense in Japanese. Not a teacher, but when I was in primary school I was so lazy during a maths test that I didn't recheck my finished script despite having 10 minutes to go, and the teacher's constant reminders. Turns out I had accidentally flipped 2 pages of the exam script together and left the middle 2 pages completely blank. Guess there's a reason why practically every big exam I ever took started with a reminder to check that we had the correct amount of pages in our test. Not a teacher, but my dad was. He taught French. Best translation ever from French to English, as part of a longer text, not just this sentence. Elle marque la langue de la rue avec un matelas barbu. She walked down the street with a bearded mattress. We can only imagine the look on the poor kid's face when they wrote that, trying desperately to figure out what the hell was going on. Mattress? Mattress? WTF. But that's what it says. Matelas equals /equals edit, missed an apostrophe, la long, not la long L not L, on a phone halfway up a glacier. Not a teacher, but I used to tutor high school kids. This kid needed help with an upcoming English literature test, so I spent 2 hours explaining Chaucer's Canterbury Tales to him. Then I started quizzing him. I had a printout with mock questions and I started with the easiest one. In the Canterbury Tales, where are the pilgrims going? Answer, to Santiago de Compostela. He was dead serious too. I believe this explains why I did not go into teaching. Technically not an answer, but for the app test, and possibly many other standardized tests, my classmates took advantage of the rule, where the grader has to disregard anything the student crosses out with a single line. After finishing his essay for the app US history exam, he wrote an elaborate story of a unicorn and its essential role in the development of the US, and crossed it out with a single line. Not a teacher, but my mommy's, and she had me grade her tests on occasion. One time someone said that Thomas Paine wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. Not a teacher, but I once write entire lyrics of Let It Go, Frozen, in both English and my language. It seems like not that stupid if it's not very important exam. It was an exam that selects students to go to international competition. I, being almost 14 at the time, got called out in front of entire hall in university. The professor scolded me that I waste very important opportunities plus waste the budget of government, and said that I was a reason that my country didn't develop lol. Not a teacher but a student. Our teacher used to read us dumb answers some of us wrote. There was a picture of Boston and the question was, which city is this? The kid said France. And to this day we bugged him. He also said the Nile is in our country, we live in Eastern Europe. I've had several pleading answers, saying they haven't got a clue, but please can I give them some marks? The real question is, did you give them the marks? Just the other day, the question asked the learners to explain the myth in the passage. Answer? A myth is a female moth. And I just sort of looked at this answer for a while before realizing the extent of stupid answers. Hey myth, do you mind If I thought, here, Mike Tyson. Mothra didn't answer, but fluttered her wings mysteriously. College English professor here, though the dumbest exam answer I ever saw came from one of my fellow TARs in a huge lecture hall film class back when I was still a grad student. For some unfathomable reason, one of his students decided to answer the written final exam in the form of a poem that didn't begin to answer any of the exam questions, nor did it reference any of the movies we watched in class, which you had to pick from for the answers, but instead just threw in references to whatever random movies he could work into his rhyme scheme, and even setting all that aside, this student still had zero talent for poetry. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but my friend decided to generously give the student a 20% for bothering to show up and at least write something down. One of my teachers said that as they were marking year 12 finals, someone responded to an essay question with "I don't know, but here's a picture of a bird," and then drew a really beautiful bird. Former teacher here. This is actually a decent strategy. I had to use a particular grading rubric. Under that rubric, this answer would get an F, or 51%. A blank answer would get 0%. Stupid? Yes. But thems were the rules. So draw your birds, people. You just never know. Not a teacher, but I know someone who spelled their own name wrong on an exam. I remember being so nervous for an exam once that I forgot what year it was and which grade I was in. Nerves can mess you up. Also not a teacher, but in 7th grade I took a grammar test. It was 10 questions, 3 points apiece. I missed every question and forgot to put my name on the test. I was given a -3/30". Obligatory not a teacher, but before I had my history teacher, who liked to put funny answers on tests that were clearly wrong. She had put Apu Nahasapima Petilin among historical Babylonian figures on a test, and people actually picked the answer unironically. Studying is important, folks. Edit, looking back, it may not have been Babylonian, but may have related to the Huns or Mongols. Can't remember fully, but it was something within that vein. Who needs the quickie mart? These people do. Thank you. Come again. It was supposed to be a lengthy subjective answer on a particular concept, and instead, the student starts with a line of concept answers, a story based on a movie, and ends with adding another conceptual line in the end. I think this is a common trick. Make the first and last lines relevant and fill the middle with garbage, assuming nobody will read it. Imagine reading 50 to 100 essays per class on a weekly basis. A lot of skimming involved.